This is Mario. Beloved, let us start at the beginning. It's the best place. So we will begin by having me reach deep to find my sincerest gratitude to express for yet another Tuesday afternoon of information and enlightenment, naturally and deliciously flavored by Amsterdam ice cream. Yes, beloved, it is indeed a Tuesday, and so I must remind myself at the outset, because well, too often, I was going to say all the time, but it is all the time, but too often, I just forget to remind us that at 3:30, we are going to be experiencing our Crucian history question. And that, beloved, is, well, let me just say, it is a popular part of this information and enlightenment program, because people just catch up with me all the time and say, I didn't know that. And they're referencing some little piece of Crucian history that was exciting to them because they didn't know it, or they didn't know it in that way, or so forth and so on. But beloved, I give credit where it's due. And that's to the lady that's referred to as the general. Yes, beautiful Aisha. She's the one that dropped this in the lap and suggested that I have this little segment in the program where I could present the beloved audience with a Crucian history question, and the correct answer to that Crucian history question would then be complemented with beautiful Aisha supplying a full quart of Amsterdam ice cream, your favorite flavor, a full quart for the correct answer to the Crucian history question. And that, beloved, has been, well, let's just say it's popular. It's very well liked, and everybody embraces it and looks forward to the past 3 hours when you can hear the Crucian history question for this particular Tuesday. But while we are at the ice cream section, we am already tasting it. And I hope you know, you have take my advice here. Whenever you could afford it, get some extra Hamsa ice cream that you could stash in your freezer. Why? Because, beloved, in these times, the stress is becoming more and more, let's just say, forceful in our lives and stressing us out, uh, well, too much. And I don't know, and I don't think you know either, a better stress relief than the opportunity to lick some Armstrong ice cream. And so that is why I recommend that you keep some Armstrong ice cream stashed away in the freezer as your stress relief, because you never know when it's threatening to become unbearable. And beloved, hypertension is something that affects too many of us. So we ain't want no more stress than we ordinarily have to deal with. So that is my recommendation, that you keep some Absam ice cream in your freezer just as stress relief. Beloved, that brings me right back to, again, I don't know, but more and more people are telling me that, Mario, it is because it's you. If anybody else had come up with this, they would have done hug it up, embrace it, and buy it as if it was their own. But because it's you who come up with this idea to have Amsterdam ice cream package, well, they can't give the credit. But beloved, me looking at credit, me looking at things, all I want is for the inside out cultivation to have a vehicle so that we could understand, clearly understand, that yes, we can indeed produce, we can do things, and we can in fact find ways to sustain ourselves. And that is what inside out cultivation is all about. Ways how we could be self-sustaining. And again, don't get me into the politics about independence. I ain't talking about independence from the United States or all this kind of thing. No, I'm talking about us being able to sustain ourselves and form an identity of our own. And that's what Absalom ice cream is. Our identity inside our cultivation, beloved. Oh, shit, what I am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, beloved. How are you? How are you today?
I am trying to be as well as how you sound. You sound so good, like you're excited. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, beloved. We have to make do with what we have because you know that, we what we have in this supposed to be representing us is not doing the job.
That is
So when
correct.
they're not doing the job, beloved, we have to, let know. We have in the Carnival Health in summer.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it seems as though, that every year something has to occur in the village, because anytime you care. They carry it in the village and they set up their schools in the village.
Yeah.
People have been asking me, aren't you going to the village? Aren't you going to this? Aren't you going to the other? Let me tell you something. I feel better at home. I turn on my TV or listen to my radio and I feel good. Because I have a need of knee surgery right now.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yes, I sat down and I broke it in 3 different places.
Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh,
Yes.
that has to be painful.
Yes. Oh, yes, it is. But I don't leave that feedback because I have things to do. And I don't feel that I could, go how on earth we will run from it when they got so much people and they don't get crowded because people come from all over.
Yeah, yeah.
So enjoy themselves. And when you look, they cannot enjoy themselves. So I find I can enjoy myself. And my children are not interested in carnival, I can tell you that. They don't go to carnival, they are not interested. They say that when you look, if they could, any trouble, they get at home. Not to go in them crowds. And I feel the same way. Before I love carnival, don't get me wrong. I love carnival, I love, getting down on everything,
Right.
listen to the music and dance. But I don't want to go in them crowd and find myself in trouble or in them crowd, because you don't have to be in the midst of the problem. The problem will look for you. Because as you know, we have had, killings in the same village. Okay? Even though there are a lot of police are around.
Yeah.
And then we should stop in officers and everything. Should stop in every department you could see. And there was Rushworth running in the streets. Should we be having this and they call it the Borderlands American Paradise? I don't think so. And it's very disturbing. Virgin Island, I'm born in the Virgin Islands. It's troubling to me, beloved. I've seen how, you go to the hospital. Sometimes they have one doctor in the emergency room, and you should see that emergency room. Sometimes they send in home people.
Yeah.
So, the see the state we have gotten.
Well,
And we should be like this because money coming in, beloved. Where's the money going? Where is it going? It's not going where it belongs, beloved. And then Epstein case is very hot, Epstein case is very hot. You won't see when that erupt, them federal people, they don't take time, but when they take time, when they perform, it will have music play, okay? It will have music play. Let's hope for the best because the Bulgarians is our home. I'm fighting still because I'm not going to leave my home without that. As a Virgin Islander, I keep in close attention to what's going on in God, care. So them people over there, they're good for themselves. I'm telling you, they're good for themselves. But we over here, we need desperate, talk. Not money went to get it. Money has been coming in. It has been coming in. If it has been misused as a different case, it has been coming in. It has been coming in. Anyway, beloved, how is Mr. Challenger doing? I don't have a black man. I don't have I'm not hearing those people anymore.
I wish I could tell you the last time I saw Mr. Challenger was a couple of months ago. Running through in the parking lot for one of these supermarket. We talked for a few minutes and he just so like, hey, he was trying to keep himself because he wanted to stay out of trouble. And
well, I don't blame Mr. Challenger. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him because trouble, you don't have to look for trouble. Trouble will look for you.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yes. And I know the other lady had died, I forgot her name right now. She has loved to hear me and she's a come and hear me. Mr. Williams, that's when I went to Mr. Williams. I spoke to Mr. Williams.
Yeah. Mr. Williams is good. He's good. Mr. Williams, he's good.
Mr. Williams, he's a good exercise and everything.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams is looking very good. And I love to talk to him. You know,
Yeah.
he came and stuff, especially to meet, you know, Mr. B and myself, you know, to spend time with us. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much. You know, how's your sister doing? Shelley running now. We shall give him an opportunity. Okay?
Well, let's hear from him.
He's running, so we need new people in there, we love it, and people that you know care.
Well, you know, you're talking to me, the camera, the one who's calling good for nothing misleaders.
I know.
Because
I know.
that's what they are good for nothing. And they're misleading us.
Good for nothing, useless, misleaders.
But they are, you know, and like I said, all kind of money coming here at St. Croix and down in the west, you know, I just always point to the Alexander Henderson lumberyard because it's the most obvious thing to have seen down in the west. I mean, it's right there in front of your eyes. You can't avoid it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in building materials just out there in the elements, just rotting away.
But look here, we have, you know, materials for body.
Well, I have been made to understand that yes, you got this similar situation there in St. Thomas. But there again, how many people still have not been able to get their property fixed since 2017? 2017. When you had it there, okay.
9 years, beloved, 9 years.
Thank you. You know, and here we are, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars building material just rotting. So talk about good for nothing, talk about misleaders. Lord, I read the judgment.
Ever since we have had these two governors, and I'm gonna say that the place has to go down. Because the place wasn't as bad as now. I can see. I have been all my life. I will travel and come back home. And I am into politics, very into politics. And you know that, beloved.
Yes.
And once I see what I'm seeing, that this place and dilapidated buildings that were destroyed during a hurricane.
Yeah.
I went in front of the street, like the curriculum center head of building was destroyed. And in front of the street of buildings, all torn. And then he talking about dredging head deeper in to bring in better cruise ships. And we don't even have a hospital.
Yeah.
Any one of those people get sick, and you know, the sun hits them, and they're not like us who could stand the sun.
Yeah.
They cannot stand the sun. They cannot stand the sun.
That's right.
I will have to tell this person to come back again.
Well, do it because I got a caller holding on here. So
Okay, I'll tell you back.
well, yeah, we can't be back. We'll be back. We will talk some more.
Okay.
We good. All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mario. How are you doing on this most beautiful afternoon in the most beautiful place in the world?
Try my best, Mr. Billy. Try my best with it. One day at a time, my son. Try with it.
Well, that's how we could do it on one day at a time. Mario to disagree with Doña Carmen a little bit.
No problem. No problem.
Mario, she said the federal government will move slow, but they show. Basically, that's what she was saying, right? Which is
Basically, yeah.
Yes, but when it comes to the Epstein file, too much government officials are involved, so they moving
Yeah.
slowly.
Well, that's what I have to agree with you there. Yes, they just move slow, but when they finally get their act together and they move, they'll take care of business. But you have to make room for the fact that when the issue touches too close to them and their power base, then it's a whole different thing. And it ain't just a matter slow, It's a matter of pushing it aside, pretend it is not there, act as if it's nothing there, and they find all kind of ways to not deal with it.
Yeah, and it's so embarrassing and shameful. I got two daughters and I got two granddaughters.
Yeah.
Anybody more or less make sure me calling 911 or not?
I hear you. I hear you.
Me calling 911 or not?
I hear you. You
I
know.
gonna get the sharpest samurai sword and I chop you up to pieces in public. I want you that when you try to black that sword coming down
Yeah.
on you, you could see your hand fast
Yeah.
and you say,
Well, that is why from I ain't up to date as most people, Carl. I ain't gonna TV and so on, but I don't read all that. And for my readers, Mr. Bejo, what I have seen is that they find, young people who are very attractive, but also very impoverished.
yeah, that's correct.
You understand? So that they don't have any means at all, which way
To go after them.
to thank you. And so that, anybody that is in a position to offer them a little something better than they ain't got nothing, and they fall for it instantly. And this is how they take advantage of it because these people is billionaires. When I was young, when I was coming up, to be a millionaire with an M was a big thing. I never thought I would live to know that a person could have $1 billion, that you would be a billionaire with a B. And now they're talking about trillion with a
That's
T.
correct.
With a T.
A billionaire, a millionaire is broke compared to a trillionaire.
Thank you. Well, that's what says it to you that I live long enough to say all of this. And there are many people, who are physically very good looking, but at the same time, they have no future, none to look forward to, no education, no job, no nothing. So that when these people with their billions of dollars dangle anything in front of them, hey, yes, man, they are more than willing, to go along with it. And it is only after they get deeply involved that they realize what they're into. But it's too late. And the fact of the matter is because these people have so much money, so much power, the very government, and this is what Doña Carmen missing out on, the very government does pretend that it ain't there.
And look how they're able to gaslight politicians now
Thank you.
to go along with the plan.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you, me could ever be a politician.
Thank you.
Me, because
Well,
I want to pass.
But no, I have to like take your side, like with how you say, you have to take an excuse. Then you can't have to take an excuse from you, Mr. Bello, because that's just it. Here in the Virgin Islands, especially here at St. Croix, people like you can make a difference. This place is small enough that people like you and I know how we could make change. But we don't, well, that's just it. I know pointing my finger at you, just like how you point your finger at the comment, and I agree with you. You got to agree now that people like you, Mr. Bello, can make a difference in this small community of ours because you have a lot of people who respect you and they know that you're not a politician. They know that you ain't going in there to take advantage of it. And that is why I have to know, like you point your finger at your comment, I point my finger at you. And I said, Mr. Bello, people like you need to think about it and realize that you can make a difference in this little place. You can make a difference.
Yes, sir, you got we water things, you hear me? That is
Well, and then at the top of the hour, so I'm gonna let you walk with it all you want. You understand? Wheel and come again, but think about it because we need people like you. Otherwise, I could stay home and shut myself to the jail. They lock me up, you know. You ain't been through the half of what I've been through, what they put me through. I'm still there. All right, so we'll not come again, but we're going to talk some more at the top of the hour. We're going to talk some more. Okay, Mr. Bishop, good thing. Beloved, lick your cream, because after ice cream is just so good for your soul. Beloved, and hey, as we open up, I still forget something to tell you that for 2 o'clock, we are expecting Michael Henry, better known to us as the physicist. We are going to be talking about how we could use this election coming up to better our situation with that authority called WAPA, Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority. But for now, beloved, we got people at our doorstep holding straight, so let's go there. Oh, you abandoned me. Good afternoon to you.
Hey, good afternoon, brother. How are you doing, man?
One day at a time, man. Thank you for your call and welcome back to me.
Yeah. I like how the two cars them start out, you know, but I let them know that yeah, we gonna make a change. We ain't good for nothing.
That's the whole thing is that we're small enough to know what our problems are,
Right.
and we know that we got maybe just a little handful, but we have people who are capable of bringing positive change to our government.
I mean,
But I've now he put himself this. I got to use him as an example. Bejo is a man. Bejo is a man that we respect.
That's right.
You understand? For what? He refused to get involved as if all of a sudden he is too weak and vulnerable. That if he get in there, the corruption will spoil him. No,
No.
you go. The corruption can't spoil you. We know you. The same thing as the other one we call it as the physicist. Well, we at least now he coming in and he walking with us a little bit. But these are the kind of people that we need to have in leadership.
Yes. As we want it to be, well, for the people,
Right.
People that seeing the needs, like our ancestors that said the needs that they were saying, enough is was enough.
That's right.
100 years ago, where could we have had ice cream?
Thank you.
100 years, and we know nothing else but no other ice cream.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you.
You understand? I, as a young child, still hearing these people talking about money expired, but they know everything else,
Yep.
They know everything else,
Right.
but not to go look and see that the money that they need to be used, could help a family, or our infrastructure, or whatever the case the money wants for. The only time they were talking about it, well, we couldn't get this done because it expired. That's the one usually expired. All the money expired, and you, as the elected official, know everything else. Okay? I don't really keep my name all the time. Understand?
I hear you.
I have no.
But when they talk about this thing expiring, let me just show you, is that usually it's some kind of a grant program, and it have a time period. Let's just say, just for an example, we're now in April. Let us say it's okay, and they say like, listen, by the end of August, the program will shut down. So you have between now and the end of August to get involved, and you could get the use of $1 million, for instance,
Right.
to do this for your school or to do this for your hospital or whatever it is.
Right.
But the thing is that you know that the program is there. You know that it has a time period
Right.
when you have to make use of it, and you still got sit down on your behind.
They always at front. No matter how your people love it,
Thank you.
they always the one at front.
Thank
But they
you.
want to come give you some story You understand?
Thank you.
They will tell you, things, but they didn't get memo and they didn't get this and
Yeah.
no, but there's a paper trail.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, right there and then it's a paper trail.
Yeah.
You know, like I tell you already, you know, I have a skill of communication, and it always starts with a paper trail,
Right.
no matter what. Okay,
Yeah.
whether you go through telegram or telecommunication, whatever the case may be, it starts with a paper trail,
Right.
written. Yeah. So, Mr. Benyo, I 100% want Mario let you know today because I don't write my name back there. I thought they talked to somebody other day and they said from the time they registered to vote until they were like 18 years old, and from then to now they write in their own name. I say, yeah, I'm doing the same thing too. Yeah, I mean, enough is enough, below. They still believe that we inferior, and not that we are still act inferior. Anyway, that's the advantage they're taking about.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and I know.
But the point is that we allowing it.
Yeah. You know, hey man, we are not, you know, got to step up under pressure because this election year, you know, we just got blast them in the face. You know what I mean? We not disrespectful, but let them know, hey, look, man.
Well, I am boy, getting ready to tell you. And when I say you, I mean you in general, my beloved audience, that I don't see that for this campaign between now and November, I have to make it an issue
Right.
because we have 7 district senators for St. Croix.
Yeah.
That's nonsense as it is.
You know,
But I says, you mean to tell me now that we are going to re-elect them and not a one of them don't have a program to make Amsham ice cream get a package?
I see the one you're talking about almost every Saturday night, letting you know.
All right. Well, all right.
Almost every Saturday night, I see.
Well, all right. That's all that I say is that, you know, that is one issue. I got to make a campaign issue out of this program here every Tuesday. I will tell them, I said, how you going to tell me that is not something that will help all the way?
Yes. Self-sufficient, man. They really need it here, you know. According to some older folks, the nigger ground was the best ground at that time.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I gonna give somebody else a chance. Hey, listen.
Stay strong, man. Stay strong.
All right.
Good thing. Yes, beloved. I needed to, at the beginning of the program, remind you that from last Tuesday, we started using Michael Henry, better known to us as the physicist, to help us to understand how we can make improvements to that authority that provides us with water and power. It is known as the Water and Power Authority. The acronym is WAPA. Beloved, at 2:00 this afternoon, which is 3/4 of an hour from now, just about, we'll be hosting the physicist, and I'm going to try my best to get him to focus on getting us to understand how this waste to energy program could be a benefit to us. Make us understand it. Because from what you have said, I understand you to be saying to us that this could represent as much as 15% of the electricity that is generated. And all of this can be done by making use of the waste that we generate. So that here at St. Croix, Anguilla, our public dump site, can actually be converted into a source of the energy that we desperately need to be affordable and reliable. And beloved, that's a big part of our issue right there. That in my lifetime, and that pretty much extends the lifetime of us producing electric current as a community. Beloved, it has never been affordable. Always too expensive. But because we need it, we desperately need electricity, we have to find a way to pay for it. The other issue is it reliable? Because those are the two things I keep telling that we need out of WAPA. Need it to be affordable, we need it to be reliable. It is not affordable. It is way too expensive. How reliable is it? Well, beloved, you tell me. Because when you least expect it, bruh, current gone. And again, nobody knows how many electrical appliances are damaged, sometimes irreplaceable, that you have to find ways to buy another one to replace it. Why? Because of WAPA and the blackout. Current going at any time. And beloved, when the current goes, it could be anywhere from half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or it could be hours. And from my understanding, St. Thomas, when it comes to WAPA, is in a much more unpredictable situation than we here in St. Croix, as bad as it is in St. Croix. But that is my understanding that St. Thomas is even worse. The current does go over there like every day. But anyway, the point I'm making is that, beloved, electricity, just like water. These are indispensable things in a community here in the 21st century. And the fact of the matter is that, yes, we have water. Yes, we have electricity. But now answer this question. Is the water and electricity affordable? Is the water and electricity reliable? Neither one. It costs us more than, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised to learn that under the United States flag, which is the 50 states plus the territories, I would not be surprised that the cost of WAPA in the Virgin Islands is, well, amongst the top three. Amongst the top three in terms of unaffordability and unreliability, meaning it's the most expensive and it's the least reliable. And here we are, beloved. Somehow or the other, we have the most expensive government in the entire Caribbean. You said, what do you mean by that, Mario? I said, just like that. The most expensive. The governor of the Virgin Islands has a higher salary than any other head of government in the entire Caribbean. Check it out. That's the governor, that's the lieutenant governor, and then goes to the senators. Senators make 85,000 US dollars a year. We're here in the Caribbean. You don't even have a head of government, a prime minister, making $85,000 a year. And yet, beloved, despite the fact that these are so highly compensated, what do we get from it? Huh? You tell me, what do we get? And that's the point, beloved. That, I mean, just look around you. We have people in the Virgin Islands who are capable of representing us in government much, much, much better than, well, them and those that we have here today. Mr. Albert Bryan Jr. is the 9th governor that we have elected to Government House here in the unincorporated territory of the Virgin Islands. And you tell me one thing that any of these 9 governors that we have elected tell me one thing that represents inside out cultivation. Anything that could be defined as a product made by us for us. No. And that's where the Armstrong ice cream comes in. Ice cream made for over 100 years. And we refuse, that's right, we refuse to help Armstrong ice cream to be even more successful than it is. We refuse. Something wrong with us, Mr. Got to say that something is wrong with us. Let me try this. Good afternoon.
Please hold for Mario.
Good afternoon. Hello?
Hello,
Yeah, good afternoon. Is Mario?
speaking to you.
Yeah, Dr. Carl, to be on the air, Mario. I ain't hearing myself.
I'm speaking to you.
Okay. I have a question on which you could educate me here a little bit, right?
I will try my best.
Because of this fight with this distillery, illegal distillery we have operating down there in Frederickson. And first and foremost, I want to say that there's been another of that discharge there. Saturday, I took pictures of it, and despite all the information received in the hearing, they still haven't done anything about the situation to where, again, the discharge is showing up. I'm trying to figure out, Mario, and correct me if it's not possible for us, for our delegate to Congress, to ask for a bill in Congress to allow us to elect our Attorney General and judges. I gathered from my readings that Donna Green have already, through I think the resolution, allow for us to have a Supreme Court. The Senate, I understand, had to approve it. Can the delegates do the same thing for us to allow us to elect the Attorney General and elect our judges?
I don't see why not. But that again presents us to the problem as to why it is that I am forever calling our representatives good for nothing misleaders, because there are so many obvious issues that confront us that need attention, needs a solution, like you are presenting here with the discharge of these chemicals.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but you are fluent in it, and we heard you made your presentation today. The committee and the legislative hearing was over a month ago now, and again, and you have to be commended. You have to be commended for it. But that's again, we will come right back to the situation as to why it is that I describe them as good for nothing misleaders. Because what are they good for? Nothing.
Well, we clear on that, and I'm asking my question because I'm feeling the drive to address the issue, because that's one of the most.
Well, again, but again, and I realize that I'm speaking over you and interrupting you. but I'm trying to take advantage of the time that we have it to point out that, like, listen, the fact of the matter is that we are now, what is it, about 7 months from election, 8 months, whatever. But anyhow, we have election for delegate to Congress in November. It is not an issue amongst them. Will we make it an issue amongst the candidates who are running for the, because it is my understanding that the current delegate is not running for re-election.
Right.
So that
Well, that's part point, Mario. Okay, so me, I can interrupt you. Is that I hope that the people them that are questioning these candidates,
yeah.
that these are the questions they start to ask.
What that's well, that's why that is why
specific.
that is why this is getting a little bit emotional in our discussion, because we have to find a way to make it a part of the campaign.
And I think, Mario, people listen and respect your knowledge. And it's the thing, and it happened this morning on another radio station where a miseducator came on and tried to make the people believe that to have this done, you have to pour out a whole rest.
Hello?
Discouraging the people from the possibility of them just addressing that issue.
No, you are absolutely correct. It can be done. It can be done. But firstly, we must make it an issue in the campaign for delegate.
That's exactly. Yep, I agree.
But I have on my own here. Well, again, unfortunately, we don't have much assistance in this program. Like I said, not too long before your car came in, I've been talking about, I am making it an issue for this November with our 7 candidates for St. Croix delegates, because I say delegates, district senators is what I want to say. I'm getting confused with the delegate to Congress. But I am trying to make it an issue amongst those campaigning for the 7 district seats in our legislature for St. Croix, that they would actually make it an issue to have the government take on making, I don't know how else to put it other than to say, making Armstrong ice cream become a packaged product, and how the government could come in and help Armstrong ice cream to do that, and that is going to be, not going to be, that is what I am making an issue.
I respect that highly.
Well, and all I'm saying it to you. I'm saying it to you because I am thinking.
Wait.
Go ahead.
We're on the same page, but let me say, we are suffering from the enslavement mentality where the slave master did everything for us.
Yeah.
Give us the what food, what clothes, what shelter, and work us to death. Then the colonial mentality where we transfer the same enslaved mentality into the colonial period where we were free. However, we still depended on the system and the government. They bring in welfare, they bring in all kind of this and that benefits to keep us consumer slaves.
All right.
And Armstrong has to go and start pushing for himself, just like we out here who call and complain all the time have to start taking action and doing things to make change. And we're not doing that. We're complaining and expect the one we're calling these leaders to do something. And they're not going to do nothing unless we as a people do take action, write to them, whatever it takes.
Well, this is why I'm saying, and what, because I am being impolite because, we have to take a break, but that's what I'm trying to say, as emphatically as I possibly can, is that this is not Amsang Ice Cream doing this. This is Mario. This is not. This should not be. This should not be. Slow down. This should not be. The the whatever the name of these people is for the sugarcane thing. It is, but actually, it is you. You need to find a way to force this into the campaign as an issue. That's what I'm saying. That I am going to.
That's definite.
Pardon me?
That's definitely going to
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The same way I am going to do my best to make, package ice cream an issue for Amsham. Not Amsham. I doing that. Well, I am asking you because you are articulate. You can do this. Make it an issue in the campaign. And I have, from the time you started talking about it, I said, this platform here, this program is available to you. We will help in any which way that we can to help you to promote this, to make it an issue in the campaign.
Well, definitely.
Well, there you are. Well, that's all that I'm saying. Well, all I'm saying is, well, we are there for you, but we got to take the break. We got to take the break now. I'm just saying to you, you do that. I am here to help you. This program will help you. And yes, I want you to help.
I'll be calling in more often, Mario.
Please. You will be welcome. You will be welcome.
Take action. We marry them, then sit down. But who then sit down?
There you go. There you go.
Create a change.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the time.
And thank you for your effort. Don't stop. Beloved, lick your cream. Because Amsang ice cream is just so good for your soul. And beloved, yes, indeed, them and those of us who consider ourselves, well, patriots, Crucian patriots. Beloved, we need to get involved. We need to do more than just standing aside and criticizing. We need to get, well, we need to do more. Let's put it that way. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, back again, my son.
Welcome.
You know, you call your liberator, the great general. You take his profession for just, let's say, it just happened to come in him. I don't believe that. I think he knew that he had to ask for his service, to, well, at least show the slave masters that we're capable, at doing or mastering, our talent.
Well, let me interrupt you to point out something that all of us need to keep in mind, which is that as an enslaved person with specific talent, and the talent that made him call it general is that no one had the talent, the gift,
Right.
to what they call strike
Yeah.
at the exact time when you
Right.
want to take the sugar off the fire.
Right.
Okay? Now then, because of this talent, this gift, his owner would rent him out to all of these estates.
Yeah.
All right? That is the point that we can't miss out.
Right.
You see, he had the opportunity to be in contact with all these different estates
Yeah.
because his owner would rent him out. They're making money off of him.
That's right.
You understand? In other words, they are renting him out for his services. And his owners is what tell like he making money, he making money, it's him.
He makes a little bit, but that's like we would take.
Watch that man. He wasn't making anything.
Yeah.
This is what they call, that's why they call it shackle enslavement.
Yeah.
This is when you are property. In other words,
Right.
you belong to somebody else. You is just a thing.
Yeah.
All right. All you getting is what your owner give you. And basically, it is a roof over your head, you understand? And food to keep you alive so that they could make this money off of you.
Right. And all that talent, he's not the one that brought all this same crucial wrong with your here.
There you go.
That's what I needed to.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. And I'm saying is that since 1970, we have had the authority to elect our own government. Albert Bryan Jr. is now number 9, the 9th governor that we have elected. Not a single one of them ever come up with anything that you could call inside out cultivation.
Well, you're not listening to you, so that's why I brought it up.
This is the point here. So it is like, you know, we are continue to be like we are inferior people,
Right.
and that if not for the help that white people giving us, we'll starve, we're dead.
You know, I mean, the closest to that was when I think it was the king had, make provision to give the land or whatever for the building school, you know. Other than that, everything we can do come from outside. Other than our garden again. Okay? But let me give somebody else a chance.
But that's
Cultivation.
that's the point. That's the point. Inside out cultivation, and that if we could be so talented
Right.
that we make 7 different white nations
Right.
profitable half of us, how come we can't do it for ourselves?
Before I go, let me tell this here, right? When I read your book, you were telling us about how illiterate, the white people really was.
Yeah.
Okay? Now we're gonna go all the way back to, Kali, Tehu, Tat, whoever, wrote these books. Now I read in a book, and you probably will know the book too, H.G. Wells, right?
She was there.
Yeah.
But you're talking about Jehuti in the white people call him Tut, Thoth.
Yeah.
But
So
in the African way they call it Jehuti.
Jehuti.
Yeah.
So now, while I'm reading the book, he actually telling you, in this current era is when white people actually start learning how to read a damn way.
But there you go. They didn't even know how to measure time. All of that come from us. So that you know that there's 24 hours in a day. That came from African Jehuti. But again, beloved, the point that we're making is that we have not had any leadership that believed in us so that they would lead us to do things for ourselves, to help ourselves, to improve ourselves, to sustain ourselves. And beloved, when the St. Croix Labor Union fell apart, which was really the time of World War II, when they had the last strike at Bethlehem, 1940. Beloved, after World War II, we, as if somebody feed us, I don't know, Mr. but I'll just drink the Kool-Aid, I should have said whatever. But the point is that after World War II, we became just totally involved in finding ways to curry favor with America, so that it is after World War II that we had what was the closest thing to a civil war right also in the Virgin Islands, especially here in St. Croix, between Banya and in Banya. And if you're in Banya, you're an alien. Beloved, this happened after World War II, where the Korean War, and then finally you end up with the war in Vietnam. But the point is that, beloved, we were comfortable being inferior. We were comfortable as long as we were Americans. We didn't mind that it was as an inferior. And beloved, we almost had a civil war here between Hobania and Hoibania. And I know that because, beloved, it was coming to a head when we come up with a program to help us realize that we're all one people. We're all the descendants of enslaved Africans. And we were able to convince just about all the major entertainers in the Caribbean to come to St. Croix. We were putting on a festival called Roots, a West Indian revival, where we were doing everything we could to show that we are all the same people, one family, one people. And it worked. Beloved, to this date, there has never been a concert, any kind of entertainment event that could come close to what was Roots at what used to be the Estate Carlton Golf Course, where according to police estimates, we had over 12,000 people a night without any kind of violence, any conflict, just love and togetherness. And we did it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again. I came back.
You're welcome back. You are welcome here in the home.
It was my son, and called me. They don't check on their mom, and everything, So
When you come in, it is not a problem in the home here. You could call as many times as you could get it. No problem.
yes, and I said any calling, I hope for it. I said any calling before is after 4 something like that because I know the answer any question. Mr. Paraisha, good afternoon. My darling, my love. Bobby was celebrating a heavenly birthday, a birthday. And she had her picture and everything and in Facebook.
Are you?
Yeah, she had really loved my mom, and I understand that. Yes, she took care of her mommy, you know, and the mommy I used to call her too. Once they go, you know, they're gone. Anyway, you know, we love it. I was just talking with my son about all of that stuff, water running in the street, sewage water. If it was clean water, not even clean water should be running like that, because you know, there was a we who put in the bill. And when you look, you cannot walk through places, you're meeting them sewage, you know, emptying up in the street. It should not be happening like that. It should not be happening, but it's happening. The hospitals in a state of disrepair. Everything is that helps us still paying. And then drilling for bigger ships. I don't know where. We don't need bigger ships. What we need is for the island to improve it. These islands to improve. To get what it's supposed to get. I know people on that top holding, and the houses have not been free. So, this is a very bad situation for all of us. And everybody else living with our money. Water is a major problem, and you know that we love it. It's a major problem. You just said that it's not going to finish. I know what I say.
That's right.
You know the thing out there? It's the thing that Devon Grant. Go out there, and you know what I'm saying. You out there.
Yeah.
And we were all over bringing the message to the radio station. We were on the radio with you when you were on the other side, remember?
Of course, I remember.
Yes.
You and Mr. B.
Yes. And people were calling in and even coming to the station. You remember? We love it.
Yeah.
To the station to see us.
Right.
And I appreciate that very much. But you see, when I call in, I don't see how much, because I know other people calling in. Super Dad, good afternoon. I haven't heard it well.
Yeah, he
I haven't heard it yet. Super
He
Dad.
probably listening right now. He probably listening right now. But we getting ready to say at 2 o'clock we have Michael Henry, who is better known here as the physicist. He comes in and trying to get us a help how we could do something about this water and power authority.
Oh, Lord.
Explain to us how we could use the waste in our waste to energy, that instead of burning the propane, we can actually burn our garbage.
Yes, we need, some kind of.
Well, that is what again, in a few minutes, he will be on at 2 o'clock. Well, you will be hearing from him.
We need all the help we can get, everything
That's
we can
right.
get,
That's right.
Anyway, thank you for the time. Good afternoon to everyone. Beautiful Aisha, don't forget. Mr. Williams, Mr. Fellinger, Super Dad, your sister Peggy, everyone. I don't remember everyone right now.
You can't remember everybody does a comment.
No, because a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot, yes. And we love you.
I love you too. I love you all. I love St. Clair. When I go to St. Clair, I don't want to come back over here. It's like roads, you can keep them one into the next.
Right?
Anyway, we love you. Yes. We love it.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Te quiero mucho. Love you a lot. And the gentleman on the station, thank you so much.
All right. That's my boss. That's my boss. That's my boss. So everything is good. Cuídate.
You always treat me so nice, and it's so nice to talk to him. Anyway, thank you. And good afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye. Love
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye. Cuídate.
Yes. See.
Yes, beloved. So, hold straight because we got to see what we could do about this water and power authority here because hey, we can't sit down and let the good for nothing misleaders run us into the ground. We got to see what we could do to help ourselves. So, beloved, lick your cream because because Armstrong ice cream is just so good for your soul. We're back, beloved. And yes, indeed. Say good afternoon, all y'all that have all the electronic gadget and thing. You seen him? That is none other than Michael Henry, that we all think better understand and know. This is better known as the physicist. And beloved, he is articulate. And what is a physicist? Most of them are not articulate. You know?
Yeah. I know.
They want pen and paper or something to write it down. But
I'm a
this
unicorn.
this is an articulate physicist, and he's stretching with it too. So I'm glad to have him on my side. So good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. Welcome, and this is as best we can do to make you a representative of the government of the Virgin Islands. This is the people's court. So, and you are a representative here. Like you say, you're an officer of the court, you're an officer of our court.
Right.
So welcome, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you. So this is, I guess, my third time here. And so I've been, the first time I gave you my background so that you knew, that I should know what I'm talking about.
You should.
The second time I gave you the background in terms of physics that would make this more understandable. And so, and then I gave you, the last time, the three things that WAPA should be focused on. Waste energy, which can give them about 15%, and it also can tackle our problem with our waste, which is a separate issue with waste management. So this tackles both two big issues for the Virgin Islands: how to deal with the waste and how to get energy. So we can put them together. So waste energy is one. Solar, of course, should be one because we, near the equator, get a lot of sunlight throughout the year. So that makes perfect sense. And natural gas is the cheapest way to get energy, continually at this point in time. We're not there yet. We went to propane because natural gas is a little more complicated. You have to refrigerate, you have to cool down your tanks, the storage tanks, because natural gas, it expands. And so it will fill at normal temperatures, it will fill large tanks, but not have that much in there. So what they do is cool it to condense it, and so they could get more in there. WAPA didn't want to tackle that issue. And so they went propane, where you can store it at room temperature. So we're halfway there, but we should be working towards getting to natural gas because it doesn't fluctuate with oil prices like propane does, and it's much cheaper to begin with. So you have something that's much cheaper and doesn't fluctuate. The war and stuff will small movements, but propane, you will get large movements just because it is priced at in connection to a barrel of oil. So a barrel of oil goes up, propane will go up in a similar fashion. So natural gas is what we should be moving towards, but it'll take a little bit for us to get there, but we should be pushing WAPA to do this. We shouldn't ease off on it. Because as you see, propane, we moved to propane, it helped us for a year, and then we're right back in it. So solar makes sense, but the problem with solar, as I said before, and everybody knows, the sun goes down at night, or when it gets cloudy, like today was cloudy, you're not getting as much from it. So you need something a backup, something to be used when that happens, and they use batteries. The problem with batteries are that they're expensive. And the next problem is, as we all know, they don't last forever. You have to, eventually they go dead and you have to replace them. What I found, as I said, the last time I was here, is that batteries here last about half the time that they last in the States. And actually a little less than half, but you could use half as your guide. My car battery in the States would last me 5+ years. Down here, I'm lucky if I get 2 years out of it. It's in large part due to the humidity. We have higher humidity than in most states because we're surrounded by water, and humidity is a measurement of how much water is in the air. It evaporates by the sun, and so it's in our air. We're surrounded by it. We usually don't feel it here as much as they feel it in other states. And that's because we have a trade wind. When the wind is blowing, it blows that water away. How we cool off is by sweating, and that sweat evaporated. If there's a lot of water in the air already, it doesn't get to evaporate, and so we feel hotter. But in any case, we have high humidity. And if you don't believe me, just when the wind is blowing, see how you feel. That's when you're feeling the humidity. Um, so what happens with batteries is that, as I said the last time, I said water has a positive end and a negative end. So if the negative end goes by your positive terminal, it will take charges away. Or if the positive end goes to your negative terminal, it will strip charges away. So your battery discharges more quickly. And batteries, their lifespan depends on how many times they discharge and recharge. So solar power batteries, you get maybe 7,000 to 10,000 cycles where it will discharge, charge up, discharge, charge up. When it gets to about 10 to 7,000, 10,000, it goes dead. And so if your batteries, and I kind of knew this as a kid, I didn't know what was happening, but my friends and stuff say, oh, put your batteries in the refrigerator. Don't have them outside because they won't last as long. And I tried it and it worked. You put them in the refrigerator, they last longer than if you just leave them outside sitting on a shelf. So that's going to be the same thing with our solar. If they're in an air conditioned, and that's how air conditioning works, by taking the moisture out of the air. So if it's an air conditioned room, they will last longer. If they're not going to last as long. And air conditioning costs a lot of money. So yes, they can put them in the batteries in the air conditioned room, but about a lot of your power that you're generating is going to cool that room. Because everybody knows, you have an air conditioner, you put it on, your water bill goes sky high. So we have that issue here. And so I'm not a fan of the batteries. Eventually, over time, they will get cheaper as and last longer as the technology improves, but we're not there yet. Another thing that has happened is that a lot of our batteries come from China. Just like in the US, they have given what they call them, I'm forgetting the name, but they tax credits to encourage people to go into solar. So you're not really paying the true price of the panel. You're not really paying the true price of the batteries, because the government gives a tax break on it. You get back some of that money when you file your taxes or whatever. China also does that for their batteries, including the ones that they send here. But China this year is reducing that. I think they gave a 9% break. Now it's gone to 6%, and by the end of the year, to January of 2027, it's going to 0. There'll be no breaks. So the prices of batteries are going to go up. So that's an issue. Well, that's where waste to energy can come in. Instead of using the batteries as the backup, we could use the gases that we get from the waste to energy, store them, and at night, when the solar is not there, instead of depending on the batteries, use that. So I think a combination of these three things are basically what we have, at least at this point in time, what we have to put together the most efficient and reliable power plant. And this is what I think we should be doing. So let's focus on waste energy. There are multiple ways of doing it. There's incineration, which is just burning it, just like a fire. You get heat from the fire. You could boil water to create steam, and then have that steam go through your turbines. So that's the most basic way. Not a fan of it. It's low tech, cheaper to do, but you get more pollution from that. And of course, the environmentalists won't like that. And we've had a recent thing about that. They weren't even talking about waste energy. They were just talking about burn and incinerating the hurricane debris. And the environmentalists, of course, went on the warpath. if push came to shove, if that's the only thing we can do, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, there are ways to deal with the toxins that come out. There's filters, you could trap them and that kind of stuff. But as I said, I'm not that big of a fan, and also it's not the most efficient. You don't get the most energy out of that, and there will be objections from the environmentalists, like they shut down the incineration talk about the hurricane debris, and also that will be wasteful. We'll just be burning it, and that's like just us just burning a drum of oil. That is potential fuel for a waste of energy to give us electricity, rather than just heating up the place and burn. As I said, it will be like burning a solar panel, burning oil. That was what we would be doing if we were to just burn that hurricane debris. It's a source of energy. It should not be just burned. So anyway, I said incineration is one thing, and many places do this across the U.S. I said that isn't my choice of all of the options. The next choice is, let's see, I think pyrolysis. I think is the next one, and all the rest of these, you don't. What you do is you don't do it in an oxygen environment. In an oxygen, if you light something up in oxygen, heat it up in oxygen, it'll catch fire, and that's what this combustion is about. Combustion is when you put in energy into something that has where oxygen is around, and you get combustion. Okay.
I thought we had a call.
Yeah. So interrupt me whenever.
Yes,
So
yes, it is.
okay.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Mario.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Mr. CC a bit.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. CC, good day.
Good day.
He was speaking about batteries.
Uh-huh.
What type of batteries you talking about in the electrical system?
Right. So when you have a solar power unit, particularly especially for your house, you need power all times and at night. So what they typically involve is a battery bank. They're not.
Yeah. I understand that, but what type of batteries are active?
Right. That's what I'm just about to say. They're not exactly the same as your car battery. They're called deep cycle batteries.
But do you know they are getting away from deep cycle wet cell batteries?
Right. They use
lithium ion batteries.
Yes, and there are about maybe 3 or 4 different types of batteries, but all of them face the same problem. All of them.
No. According to what I know, lithium ion batteries is the best batteries for the system that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get away from them wet cell batteries that you're talking about.
Right, but they all eventually go dead. They all face the problem that I'm talking about, that they will go dead and you have to replace them.
Lithium ion batteries have a longer shelf life than those 2 other batteries.
Yes, but they eventually go dead. So that's so they have about in the States they have a 10 to 15 year lifetime. That's for including lithium ion batteries. So you get about at the most 15 years. But as I said, down here, with the humidity, you have about 3 different problems. I only talked about one that leads to it not getting that lifetime. The lifetime gets decreased. You get corrosion, and then there's a third one that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but you don't get the same lifetime as you're going to get in the States. And as I said, what I find, you get about half of the lifetime. And I'm being generous. So let's say I miscalculated or something, but you'll end up with about half. So they're talking about 10 to 15 years, which means for us, I would venture a guess of 5 to 7 years. I might be off a little bit.
I know for certain those deep cycle wet cell batteries that you're talking about.
I wasn't talking about that. You say you keep saying that I'm talking about that. I am not talking about. I am talking about all of the batteries in general. The times that I'm given.
All of them don't give you
the times I'm given is what the experts say for all batteries. This is people who. Oh, you're gonna say no? This is what the people do.
I tend to differ with you because I learned about lithium-ion batteries.
So you're an expert on it?
Excuse me?
You're an expert on it? You've done studies and research and experiments on them?
You are not an expert on lithium.
I am telling you what the experts say. I can read and understand their reports. And I am telling you, this is what the experts who say. And that's what I'm not using my experience because my experience is limited. So I look to the people who I know who have had a lot of experience on this, done tests, done studies, and I listen and I read what their reports are. So unless you're telling me you have research and experience that matches theirs and you have come up with something different, but if you haven't, how are you arguing against the people? That's like arguing.
All I want to tell you is you research lithium-ion batteries for the shelf life. Research it.
I am telling you, I have. Now you're going to tell me about my experiences? I am telling you, I have. And this is what
everybody who has solar panels on their roof, they don't get away from them batteries, them deep cycle batteries that you're talking about. Lithium ion is the way to go.
Lithium ion is what's in. Lithium ion batteries are what in your phone and in your computer.
I know that.
Okay, so then why are you talking about lithium ion like if it's something new? It's something I know about. I'm pretty sure I knew about them long before you did because things are introduced. Now, what people don't realize is physicists do the stuff first. The first computer, the first laser, fiber optics, all of that has done by physicists. Then they move on to something else. But all they're doing is trying to show it can be done. Then they leave that to the engineers to make it simplified so that the average person could use it and that it doesn't take a lot of energy. And so it takes about 10 years before the product comes to market. But the physicists already knew about it. I knew about CDs when I was in undergrad. And it was 10 years later, CDs were on the market. The fiber optics, 10 years later, is on. Physicists do this stuff first and then pass it on to engineers. Engineers make the product and then put it on the shelf. You are finding out about stuff 10 years after I have found out about it.
The whole industry is getting away from them deep cycle batteries that you're talking about.
I am not. What? Mario, have I talked about wet cell batteries?
No, but
okay. So what?
Why?
When you say deep cycle batteries, those are wet cell batteries.
Deep cycle batteries are batteries that are not wet cell only. They are batteries where you can totally drain them and then recharge them. That's what the deep cycle is about. It's not. It has nothing about being wet or dry. It's about being able to totally. Your car battery is not a deep cycle battery because you can't totally drain it. Every time you start your car up, the alternator starts to recharge your battery. So your battery never gets totally drained. Deep cycle batteries are batteries where you totally drain them.
If you don't,
if I could, put in my ignorant voice here, could I ask us to just put the batteries on a shelf for the moment because we're not at that point here yet where we have to make a finite decision as to whether this battery or that battery, or not that battery, but this one, so forth. We are still trying to understand how the waste to energy can be adapted by us positively.
and taking batteries totally out of the picture. So this discussion about batteries, it has no place in what I'm talking about, because I'm trying to not have to buy the batteries. They're expensive and they eventually go dead. That's what we definitely know, whether we're talking about wet or dry batteries. We know our battery in our phone, our battery in our computers eventually go dead.
Okay.
So I'm trying to take them out of the system.
All right, check them out the system. Well, you check that lithium ion. Okay?
I know about lithium ion.
Okay.
You don't know much. According to what you say, you don't know much.
Okay. We're good.
Oh my goodness.
Please.
People to hear what they want to hear.
Please.
Anyway, so I said, so I'm not for incineration again. So everybody get that clear. I am not for incineration. If push comes to shove, that's the only way I can bear it. But that shouldn't be our goal. There are other methods that don't deal with combustion. It's done in an oxygen-starved environment. So not totally, but you reduce the amount of oxygen so it doesn't combust. When things light on fire, like you light a piece of paper on fire, it's because of the oxygen and the carbon-based molecules exchanging. So for instance, like when you burn gas, you take gas is a bunch of carbon with hydrogen surrounding it. When your spark plug, or in the case of a diesel engine, when the pressure builds, it causes the molecules to collide with each other. The hydrogen breaks off of the carbon. But now when there's oxygen in the area, the hydrogen is more attracted to the oxygen, and the carbon is also more attracted to the oxygen. So what you get is a water molecules and carbon dioxide molecules are formed instead. But when they are formed, they end up with excess energy from what was there before. So they're zinging around the place, colliding, and that's what collides with your pistons that ultimately gives you the motion of the motor and your tires. So that's combustion. With this, we're not going. If you just burn it, you get combustion, and the carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere, giving you, and water molecules giving you global warming. And then whatever else. So we know oil is sticky. You get oil on your hand or whatever, it's hard to come off. And so the oil in the ground is sticky. A lot of whatever's in the ground is now, when you get the oil out, is now in your oil. And so when you combust that, whatever was in the oil is now in your air. And so that's one of the problems with combustion. It can release all kinds of stuff into the air. But if you do these other methods, which is oxygen starved, so you won't get combustion, but you're heating it up, so the molecules are colliding with each other, breaking apart. And so what you can get is what you tend to get is methane, which is just one carbon surrounded by hydrogen. And you could take that methane and burn and combust that. And that's what natural gas is, like 95% methane. It's, methane, ethane, butane, propane, but largely methane. And so you get something that's akin to natural gas. And then you could combust that, and you get less carbon dioxide in the air. You also will get less of these other things because you have a smaller molecule now, so less things can attach to it. And so you get a cleaner burning fuel. And so this is what I am proposing and wanting, one of these methods. There's pyrolysis, gasification, and I believe, and plasma arc gasification. Plasma arc gasification is the best, the cleanest one, because in that case, you don't even just get methane. What you get is hydrogen. The molecules completely separate. You could take your hydrogen gas, store it, and burn that. Your carbon, you can sequester that. You can have it either attached to other things and get coal or something else where you can have this, and that also entraps. The carbon is the thing that things stick to the most. So a lot of the things like sulfur and arsenic and mercury and all that will tend to get trapped in that carbon, and you can then bury that. And then what you burn is just the hydrogen. And what you're going to get out of that? Water. You burn the hydrogen, you combust the hydrogen with oxygen. It gives you the heat. It gives you basically the water molecules zinging around the place, which is what we want, the steam. So plasma gasification is the best, the cleanest, but it's more expensive. You have to have special drums to do this thing because the heat is extreme. You really have to pump up the heat without oxygen for this to work. So I don't really think we're going to do that, and I wouldn't quite recommend it as yet, mainly because again the drums, you would have to replace the drums, and I'm not sure if that would be the best thing at this point in time. Maybe somewhere down in the future, but now I would more the gasification or the pyrolysis. One of those two would be the one there, similar to the plasma, but they don't break it down to that much. The heat isn't that high, so the stuff doesn't get broken down as much, but it gets broken down a lot, and you get the methane gas out of it, and that you burn. You could all these methods that I talked about, that the oxygen stuff, the pyrolysis, plasma gas, arc gasification, and just gasification. All of these, you can control what the toxins, the heavy metals, and in fact, the heavy metals and stuff, mercury and stuff like that, you can sell those things. Those things are needed in many of our electronics and that kind of devices. These things people are searching for them. So we could do that, but if not, they get encapsulated and we can bury that. And that's so much less in volume than our trash. So we could easily handle burying that somewhere on the island. So one of these, any one of those three, and I would be happy. I would say it would be a major improvement. Oh, and also these three are more efficient. You get more electricity from this than if you were to just burn the stuff.
Well, I would like for you to make the choice for us.
Out of the three?
As our situation being what it is, as you know better than I do and the rest of us, let me just come back to you. What is it that you would recommend for us to be in the condition we're in?
Right. I would say I would take the simplest of the three, which would be pyrolysis, just because, we'll be just getting started. There'll be things, of course, that we'll discover along the way, no matter how much planning you do, as you should realize that in your own life, that there's always surprises. There are always things that you didn't think about and whatnot. So you try to do as much planning beforehand so that you cut down on how many of those things happen, but you know that it's going to happen. You're not God, so you're not going to think of everything. We're not God, even though, you get 100 people on this, it'll cut down on the surprises, but they are going to be surprises. So I would say we start with the simpler one, which is pyrolysis, and work with that. And then, again, equipment has a lifetime. Whatever.
This is just it. We'd like to know so for this
pyrolysis
system, what is it in terms of equipment that we would be needed.
Right. So you need a chamber to heat this stuff up. So that the chamber has to be relatively airtight, so that you could take out the oxygen and then and so no new oxygen or very little new oxygen would go in, because you need an oxygen
Well,
stall.
no.
Right.
We need at least 2
Yes,
chambers,
at least 2, and I would
one for St. Croix, one for St. Thomas.
right. To get started, I would say optimally we probably wouldn't want a backup on each island. So I would say we could start off with 2, but we should be working our way to having 4. Because again, things go wrong, and so backups are a nice thing to have. And so, but again, we could just start out with 1, get our feet wet, know what is the best chamber. We buy one and use it, and then we realize, oh well, it would be nice to have this, it would have been nice to have that. So then we buy a second one eventually, and then on each island. So 1 on each island to get started, and then down the road, with our eyes open, which we should do with any system, with our eyes open to a future thing. And we would be saving money, so we would have money to put up to do these things.
But this is what I would like for the beloved audience to be hearing. Okay, so we're beginning with 1 chamber.
Right.
What is the cost are we talking about?
Now that I would have to go. That is the next next thing. I haven't checked
But in terms of
recently for the cost. I've checked way back when, but I'm sure the cost has changed since then. So I have to do a new search.
But from your experience, is it something within our capacity?
Whopper can't do anything. Let's be honest. They are such in a bind. So we would need federal funds, but I don't see Congress not giving us this. We're going to a better system, more environmentally favored system. They know that our energy costs are stifling our growth. I don't see them not bringing the money forward. Puerto Rico has went to natural gas. So not the whole thing, but a certain percentage. They also did coal, so they were able to find the money. There's no way that the U.S. that Congress would not give us the money. And in fact, they were talking about giving us $600 million or something like that to revamp the whole system. So supposedly they have money sitting there. Well, they have access to money from the federal government already to revamp the whole thing, according to what news they brought out. So unless they were lying, they have money sitting there already, at least $600 million to revamp our power system. It's an obvious thing that the federal government knows we need to do this. I mean, it couldn't be any more obvious.
Okay, well now we understand that the financing has to come from the feds.
Right.
Now, assuming, as you are, that they would have to see this for what it is, an improvement.
Right.
And so therefore,
but we would have to show them that. We will have to come up with a plan. They're not just going to throw cash at us. Mm-hmm. We have to come up with a plan that shows that what we want to do, that is feasible to fix our problems, or at least ease them considerably.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we have to present to them.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the plan. What plan do we need for us to be able to present it to the federal government as something that is not only feasible, but It should be dissolvable.
So,
For-
so like some of the questions that you have for me, how much is it going to cost? How many chambers do we want?
Yeah.
How much is going to cost for this? What other support and things will they need for it to be successful? So basically, what's the total cost going to be likely? And of course, they don't expect us to be absolute on. They know that things might change in time, and so we might be a little bit off. But we need to at least show that we have some clue as to what we're venturing into.
Yeah.
So we need to put down all those details. How it's going to fit into the overall system. So I'm talking about so basically, when are you going to use this? You get this waste to energy. When are you going to use it? How are you going to use it? And how is it going to fold into your overall So basically, it's going to have to be a complete plan with details in there. We would have to do research to see what are the current costs, because that's why I said I researched this some time ago, but that's at least over 10 years ago. So I'm not expecting my numbers to be good for today. We would have to go back and look at these things and look at the components and look at what are the costs today.
But I'm trying to be the pragmatist here because I am trying to see if this plan is something that we can develop between now and election day.
Depends on how badly we want to and how much time we want to put into it. But yeah, definitely is something that can be done within that time.
Why? Because the way I'm looking at this is we are now in the 36th legislature. Is for the 37th, which gets sworn in January of next year, that we have a workable plan that we could go ahead with.
Yeah.
That's the time period that I'm talking about, so that by November that we could have 1,
So that's about
2,
6 months.
3, who knows, maybe 3, 4, 5 of the 15 senators who have agreed to get behind this plan for the 37th legislature.
Right. Well, even that is even more feasible, because that doesn't have to be as complete as a plan you're going to give to the federal government asking for money. So the first thing is, as you said, getting the senators behind it, and that the details that they need is a lot less, and that's 6 months.
That's what we need, so that the 37th legislature, what I'm looking at, is implementing this plan in terms of, number one, convincing the federal government or whatever agencies within the federal government that is supportive of this to give us the financing. But yes, first, so between now and January, to be able to have this plan, let us just say, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but a plan that is so workable that we could convince 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 of the 15 senators that would make up the 37th legislature, that they could see that, yes, this is viable, this is something that we could get behind, and this is something that would give us a measurable improvement in our situation, because my thing is always, affordable, reliable.
Right. So I have done stuff like this before. I was at the University of Arkansas before I came home, and we was helped by me and 2 other people there came up with a multidisciplinary graduate degree for master's and PhD in microelectronics and photonics, which is basically like electronics, but like fiber optics and that kind of stuff. And that is very successful program. I think I told you this before. I had a student from UVI that got involved in it and went on to be a director of Army research, and then from there got into AI and went on to be the director of AI for the Department of Defense, the whole Department, Army, Navy.
Sounds
whatever.
good. Well, between now and the heat of the campaign, which would be, I don't know, by August, so that September, October to November. By this time here, by then September comes along,
Right,
you know, that we have an idea
right.
as to whether just one or three or four or five candidates are likely, you know, to come along and buy into what we're selling.
Right, right. So I think within 2 months, we could come up with a plan that has enough detail for a candidate to decide whether or not. Because if you put more detail into it, they're probably ain't reading it. You know, they're probably you can give them information overload. So, but I would say 2 months easily can come up with a plan for a candidate to say, yeah, you know, I like this. This is something that I could back. And we put in to put in more details to go to Washington to go to the federal government with.
That's basically what I'm looking at.
And I've also done this with the federal government through the National Science Foundation. I came up with a plan to get more minorities into STEMs, it's science, technology, engineering, and math. And I got in touch with them. In fact, one day, just out of a chance, I called the director of the National Science Foundation, and it was at a time where I figured their secretary wasn't going to be there to answer the phone, but they might be there. And they did, and they answered the phone, and I told them of my plan, and they were like, yeah, this is something that, you know, we think, yeah, I'll get the proposal in, and we'll think. I had a chance to meet with the director of the Education and Human Resources program, which is the largest program in NSF by far. And I sat down and I explained the program to him and whatnot, and he was like, yeah, this is great. This is what we're looking for. Get the proposal in and we'll fund it. You know, so you can give them enough information for them to understand what it is you're trying to do, and that the details are just details, because the goal and how you're going to meet the goal is doable. And then you fill in. Now, when you do the proposal, you got to fill in all the details, all the numbers. You got to crunch the numbers and that kind of stuff. So this would be a similar thing. You get together something, you know, so that people can say, yes, this is something I can get behind. The details exactly of how exactly you do it is not going to really matter, because the goals of what you're trying to do and what you're going to end up doing is something that I believe in. Mm-hmm. And then now to get money, of course, now you have to fill in the details, because they have to see step by step that, yes, this is going to work. Mm-hmm. So, and I said, I've been through this, you know, and in fact, I'm just kind of coming off of another thing that I'm working on, and trying in robotics and automation, which is something that we need to get into, because that's the way the world's moving towards. Mm-hmm. The electric car is a robot, and the people who can fix combustion engines, especially the older mechanics, they're not going to want to learn this new thing, because they'll learn it and then 5 years later they're retired. So you got to get the young people into it. We need to, because we're going to need people to fix electric cars is where they're moving. California has a date where after that, I think it's 2035, they are no longer supposed to be selling any combustion gas vehicles. They should all be, from that date onward, all the new cars are supposed to be electric. Mm-hmm. So this is the way things are moving. We're going to be in that same boat eventually. We need people to work on it, and you got to start from now.
Well, what I would like for us to start with is, well, this waste energy program, but you've chosen as the best for us at this time, that we could make it understandable, comprehensible,
Right,
first of all, to our beloved audience,
right.
and therefore,
To potential candidates. Right, right.
even if it comes down to just one candidate, but hopefully, 3, 4, 5 of the 15.
And this is a area. It's like, how can you disagree with this? You know,
That's what
It's
I'm
like,
hoping.
you know, that's the person I would really like to hear about. How can you look at something like this
Mm.
and say that you have a problem with it? And what exactly is that problem? Because this is kind of a no-brainer. We have garbage that we are having a problem getting rid of,
Mm.
and we have a power company that we have a problem powering.
Mm.
And this meets both. So at this point, the only question should be, which one of the technologies are we going to, which one of the technologies can we, as Virgin Islands,
This is
deal with the best?
And
Right.
this is where you come in.
Right. And I would say pyrolysis, is probably our best first step, because it's a simple
Whether it's
solve.
dialysis,
Right.
let's get on with it.
Right. And then will give us experience and the money, because we'll be saving money as we're going along, to then move into the more technologically advanced ones that might give us better efficiency and cleaner air. And that's what just kind of like the propane thing. Although the problem with the propane thing, it didn't quite work the way it was supposed to work, mainly because they let the company decide how much they were going to charge us, and didn't give us a cost up front. Because it's like they said that, oh, the rock was harder than they expected. You can get geology reports on the soil and the rock in the Virgin Islands. All you gotta do is go to the U.S. Geology, I forgot what they call it, U.S. Geology something, and they got the reports there. They have studied how in the world do you not know what rock you're gonna need to dig into? So that's a little questionable there. They had to have known, or they just didn't do the work that they were supposed to do. So it ended up being more expensive than what they were initially saying, and that's results from planning. You look and see exactly what you're going to need and what you have to work with. And so this also is but that takes time and effort. It's not something that, it's something you got to pretty much pay somebody to do, because it's going to need a lot of their dedicated time. They're not going to be able to be using their time to make money otherwise. If you just leave it as, okay, this is something you do on your spare time, then it might take them 5 years to finally come up with something, because they're going to have to live. They're going to have to be doing stuff to make money to live. And then when they find extra time, do this. So this is something that you will pay somebody to spend your time to find the details, because it's going to take time, and to put all of it together. And you see what happens when you don't. You end up with something that starts out with a good idea, but then because you left the planning up to somebody else, that it's in their best interest to make it cost as much as they can, because that's what gives them their profits. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. So I think, but getting a plan together, getting the candidates to endorse it, is a very doable thing. And as I said, I would be very interested in who would say no to this, because I would like to know a whole lot more about them. Because this is like coming up with a plan to feed babies, and somebody saying, no, I don't think that's a good idea. So and we all know that power and our dumps are strangling us as a community. and the dumps are igniting on their own. So, and without, even incineration, having a plant that deals incineration is better than what we have right now, where the landfills are igniting on their own and all that pollution is up in the air. At least if it was in a power plant using incineration, there would be some of that would be captured by the plant, rather than 100% of it just blowing in our smoke. And the dump in Bovoni, in St. Thomas, we had to get the National Guard to come dump water on it. And I'm sure of the Puerto Rican National Guard. And I'm sure they charged us quite a bit to transport the water there. And then months later, the fire chief dies of a heart attack. Not surprising, because smoke is known to trigger heart attacks. So we're paying a cost for our dumps igniting on their own, both financially and with people's lives. And I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't the only fireman who was out there at the dump that ended up having a heart attack sometime after. They may not have died, because usually you don't die from the first one. Usually you've had several before the one that kills you. I knew a lady, her mother was feeling funny, went to the doctor, thought she would, and the doctor said, said, you've had about 5 heart attacks already. Because each one you have, it leaves scars on your heart. So when they examine your heart, image your heart, they can tell how many heart attacks you've had. And so, he told her, you don't die from the first one. You have several, and then the one kills you.
Well, we want to paralysis.
Yeah.
We want to break it down,
right.
Make it understandable.
Right.
So that, if we could make it understandable to our beloved audience, I think we got a good chance of making it understandable to a handful of these 15 representatives.
Right. And with paralysis and all the others that I talked about, you can put tires in there, you could put plastics in there, you could put sargassum in there.
Yeah.
So the sargassum that is plaguing us, that's an energy source. We could scoop it up, put it in our system, and get methane from it to power our plants. So the things that are nuisances or problems for us can actually be energy for us in one of these systems, any one of the gasifications. So dealing with the pyrolysis, the easiest one, we can put all those things in it. If we don't have to put all, so they're doing some recycling and trying to reuse the plastics, fine. You can do that, but that's only, we only have so much need for that kind of stuff. So there's going to be plastics that are not going to be used for that. Put it in the system. You find some use for tires, fine, you can use that, but then you put it. Oh, and that's the other thing too. The byproduct, what you're left with from these, you get biochar, which can be used for agriculture. And then there's another thing, I forgot the name of it, but it can be used for like roads and that kind of stuff. You can use tires by itself without going through this process, but places have run into problems with that. Especially like California, they used it on a road and it started to melt, and the ooze was oozing into the ocean, and so they had to bring in a company to clean it up. So and then there's limits. I think you can only really use them on neighborhood roads, low traffic roads. So we couldn't use them on Melvin Evans Highway or Queen Mary Highway. That's heavy traffic, and so we could use some of that stuff for side roads and that kind of stuff, but it's not going to use up all of our tires. So with the rest of it, if we have another use for it, fine, but the rest of it goes to waste energy. You can use the trees and stuff for wood chips, mulch, but we only have so much need for mulch. we're going to still be left with stuff afterwards, and that goes in. So when I talk about waste energy, I'm not saying, we're going to exclude everything else and that you can't use it for these other things. Those things can be done at the same time.
Well, I think the paralysis is it,
I think so.
and we will look forward to you being able to break it down where it could be cognitively consumed by my beloved audience, and within a couple of months that we could sell a few candidates on it, so that the objective is that come January in the swearing in of the 37th legislature, that we have however small a group it might be, that is equipped to provide us with the means of convincing the federal government to give us the funds that could, finally make it a possible thing to do. But let's see, because we're just about finishing with here. Let me see. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Mario. Good afternoon, Mr. Henry.
Good afternoon.
Yes. I just told him I wasn't listening all along.
We're just about closing it down, and you're here to help us shut it down.
Okay. I needed to ask, if I may, whether or not WAPA officials ever came to the truth and tell the public why they did away with waste heat boilers. You know of anything?
No, I can't say that I've heard them talk about that. I know they shut down the big boilers, and that's probably why they aren't using the waste heat. They probably don't have as much waste heat as they used to. They shut down the old boilers that they had.
The IDE plant.
Right. And so that I'm guessing that because it would have been attached to that. And so my guess is that and that they probably don't have that much waste heat to make it efficient to be used.
Well,
plus they also parts probably broke.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying parts probably broke, and we don't do maintenance.
The thing is, though, like I have mentioned before, I have seen at least 3, maybe 4 of consultant reports that WAPA paid millions of dollars for. And from what I could glean from them, they did not do what was recommended by consultants who knows the systems much more than them. I mean, why would you pay me to do something? I do it, and then you find an excuse. Well, we can't spend that kind of money now, or we can't put it off in 20 years. The longer you put it off, it's not going to be the more expensive.
Well, you have to pay attention to who hired the consultants. WAPA doesn't really hire them. It's the PFC that hires them, and I think they kind of have to do that by law. That's pretty standard, since they're giving WAPA a monopoly. Monopolies are normally illegal, but for certain things in the U.S., they allow them, and electric power is one of them. But since they're giving them a monopoly, then they are controlled by the PFC. Their price and how much they can charge is controlled. And if you're not controlled by it, if you're not given a monopoly, then you charge whatever you feel like. You charge as much as the customer will pay for. But if you're given a monopoly, you have to, the government decides how much you can pay, and that's what the PFC does. And so they hired the consultant to give them advice. And then, well, WAPA doesn't hire them. So WAPA doesn't care what those consultants come back with. WAPA is going to do what WAPA does. And so they, as you said, have been totally ignoring all the reports. And it's the same report they get back all the time. And it's stuff that makes perfect sense. But WAPA, who knows what WAPA is doing? It is certainly not trying to be efficient.
We are at the end. We are at the end. Yes, you have a last word.
Yes, okay, no, good. I will let them go now. But the thing is this: who continues to get bite in the tail part if it isn't the consumer? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, and well, might not be next Tuesday, might be after that, but until the next time, we want to get this the paralysis understood, so that we can get behind it and well, hopefully give us a measurable improvement in our situation. So that's word is yours.
Right. So the next time I'll be talking about that, the different components of paralysis and the cost range, to give some idea. Yeah. So I'll that's what I'll be talking about the next time.
Lick your cream, beloved, for Armstrong ice cream is just so good for your soul. We got this about 20 minutes before we hit the bottom of the hour, and I think you know what happens at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. Yes, beautiful Aisha will make herself see center stage as we do our Crucian history question. So, beloved, keep that in mind. We've got to be ready for us 3:30. But in the meantime, we got a caller being patient. Let's go to the caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Mario.
All right. Welcome back. Man.
Yeah, thank you. You know, it makes one wonder. And I'm glad because Mr. Henry sort of clarify the fact that it's not WAPA paying for the consultancy reports. But the question is and should be, does it make a difference who pays for it? Money is money. Now, it has long been said. I mean, I've heard some very nasty things said about the PSC, not only by the layman on the street, but by citizens and the said consultant. Okay? Because if they're going to continue to give WAPA carte blanche to increase rates, LIAC, and this and LIAC, then don't they too pay the same increase in the LIAC, or maybe they don't? I don't know. I mean, it defines the industry common sense. It's not even electrical engineering that WAPA would be allowed to make a fast of the sale of electricity and dirty apparel water. I mean, I don't know why the Rural Electrification Administration maybe don't just shut them down, rule them, I mean, out of order. You can't be doing this to people and think you're doing them a favor. But I'm glad my mind led me to favor. I haven't heard it yet. I'm supposed to get it from someone that had heard it and has it in whatever subject it was that the governor was talking to when he said that the people of the Virgin Islands are ungrateful. He has done so much for them, and yet and still they want him to do more. We wanted to drop down doing the work. Yes, that's what you want. Yes, that's what you're supposed to do. What? I mean, this children by party, I saw them. Let me tell you something, Mario. Again, that's why I like to talk back again. Huh?
I said, listening.
Yeah, okay, no. The governor holds a big cabinet meeting on St. Thomas. In the heat of Carnival. Of course, that is for them and those and their surrogates and their assistants and the janitor and cousin family to come to St. Thomas for the carnival activity and be paid per diem for it and to be put in hotels and oh my God. They do these things and feel like other people don't know. These things were done before.
It's carnival, baby.
I don't understand.
I say it's carnival, baby.
Oh, it's carnival, baby. You're right. You know, but I mean, how much is too much? How much are you going to ask the taxpayers to pay for your lifestyle?
But if I might, why should they limit themselves when we, the taxpayers, we, the voters, we don't put any stop to it? We are complicit, comfortably complicit.
You're correct with that, Mario. And I suspect the waiting and more than just you, Mary, Grant, myself, Brother R, and a couple more, Mr. Henry. Maybe they need to see at least 30,000 of us.
Well, there
Okay,
you are.
from 30,000 of us.
There you are, because earlier in the program, and this was the first hour, we were talking to Mr. Bejo, and we were pointing out to him that just that he represents that class of us that we have out here who are capable of changing things in our government. But for one reason or the other, we claim we don't want any part of the corruption, so we don't want to get involved. But how could the corruption ever change if we don't get involved?
But therein lies the rub, Mario.
There you go. Well, that's
and will.
there you are. There you are.
You see. But let me go by saying this. The IDE plans that they chop up and had stitched down as old iron or something about that. When I asked Arline about it, he stopped and muttered and couldn't say why they stopped it. He just talked about future plans and greater plans. And tell me the plan, don't tell me greater. I don't know what them word is. I can't understand them words. Talk to me, the electrical engineering, please. But the same thing that is chop up, isn't that the same equipment or machinery or boilers that Brother R and Grant were going to be using to go back to this desalting water in the water battling program? I believe that's the same thing they were going to use. Now, I asked this week, last week now, yes. Matter of fact, last Wednesday, when Court Bailey was on with your sister. And as anyone knows me, I don't care. Maybe it gets a little rough with God and I, but that aside, that didn't have to happen. That don't make me mad with God, and I don't think he's mad with me. I will continue to refer to him and Neville James as the dollar crunchers. I have never seen two men, whether they are senators or not, that can overmatch the budget director and the commissioners who were supposed to prepare their own budget and explain the budget better than them. They are just gifted with that. You know? Like the thing is, I asked him about this water battling proposal, what he thinking about it. He says that's a good idea. But then, like a good idea, like Armstrong ice cream was with getting, well, then why we not pushing it and doing something about it, Mario?
That's it. That is the $1 million question there, my son.
Right. And then I asked Jean Baptiste, why I call him Jean Baptiste? I mean, that's how broad I is. And he said the same thing. But the senators, past and future, or those that are sitting on that can do something about this, what are they doing? Nothing. I don't know. Maybe I need to change my feel or or something and go back to digging the ground and trying to plant potatoes. So I don't know. But to me, it defies logic. That's all I could say. Anyway, I'll continue to listen and come back if I may.
Absolutely. All right. In about 10 minutes, we got our question and answer question, and you are welcome.
Yeah. Well, I still at number 9 and winning 9 now. I mean, I believe I'm up to the lowest one now. I'm trying to get up to 90 and 9.
Keep trying. Keep trying.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Right.
Yes, beloved. Well, that is my commitment between now and November, since I have not been able to get to first base with the proposer, because believe it or not, the proposed resolution for Armstrong Ice Cream came from Senator Gittins. He is the one who proposed it. And of course, he got quite a few senators who joined him as co-sponsors of the measure. But as we just intimated here with the scholar, everybody is on board with Armstrong Ice Cream being a winner. And I still don't know of anyone who is opposed to us coming up with a way, a methodology, a proposal, if you will, as to how we can get Armstrong Ice Cream packaged. I do believe that the product, Armstrong Ice Cream, is such a winner, has such total support from, well, everyone, that it should only be a matter of getting heads together to come up with a viable plan as to how the government can assist in making Armstrong Ice Cream a vehicle for our program of inside-out cultivation. And it just so happens, beloved, that that's how it is. The product has been tested for more than 100 years. And there's no question about it. Armstrong Ice Cream is a winner. It can actually represent us if it could be packaged and therefore made available wherever ice cream is sold. We are proposing to start with the island of St. Croix. What does it take? What will it take to get Armstrong ice cream attractively packaged so that, well, supermarkets here on St. Croix, grocery stores here on St. Croix, and all the gas stations, because every gas station on St. Croix sells ice cream. And beloved, that is the first goal, to make Armstrong ice cream available wherever ice cream is sold on St. Croix. And beloved, it doesn't take any more than a few willing minds hopefully some of them being our elected representatives in government. We have 7 district senators on St. Croix. I was under the impression that we didn't need more than one. Just like it was the one Senator Kenneth Gittins who proposed the resolution commending Armstrong ice cream. Well, why couldn't we have the same Senator Gittins being the same Croix District Senator who proposes it? That the government assist in getting Armstrong ice cream packaged in an attractive container so that it could be sold in all the places ice cream is sold here on St. Croix. Again, beloved, it's not a monumental project, but it is significant because it will be the vehicle to convince us Virgin Islanders that yes, indeed, we can have inside out cultivation and Armstrong ice cream is the perfect vehicle to demonstrate to one and all of us that yes, this is indeed possible. Beloved, It doesn't require anything more than our representatives getting together to make it happen. And with that, beloved, we have made it to the bottom of the hour. And so, why don't we take our break so that we can come back with our Crucian history question for this Tuesday afternoon. Lick your cream, beloved. Ramsang ice cream is just so good for your soul. Beloved, and if you look again, you see this beautiful Alicia is center stage, and she's ready to do her thing. Are you ready to do yours? Because all we want from you is the correct answer to the crucial history question. Beloved, at the beginning of the 19th century, in Europe, there was major war. But then that is one of the characteristics of the European nations. They could always find a reason to fight each other, always at war. But beloved, we're talking about Napoleon. And it so happened that the British defeated Napoleon. And Denmark, the colonizers of the Danish West Indies, had to suffer the consequences of supporting Napoleon and the French. In 1801, the British took over the Danish West Indies. And beloved, Rear Admiral J.T. Duckworth reported to his superiors after surveying what was now under British control, the island of St. Croix. Rear Admiral Duckworth was extremely impressed, and I will share some of the words from his report to his British superiors. As he wrote about St. Croix in the Danish West Indies, he said, the cultivation on St. Croix exceeds that of any of our islands but Jamaica. And the produce for the size of the island is immense, averaging black hogs heads a year. Now, beloved, it is for you to determine what is a hog's head. Hogs like pigs, but it's one word. A hog's head is a measurement. And Rear Admiral Duckworth, in his report, is telling his superiors just how immense the production of the island of St. Croix is by writing how many hogs head per year did St. Croix produce with sugar. Let's hear from you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Mario, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. We're looking at the hog's head. and we want to know how many hogshead a year did the Rear Admiral Duckworth report to his superiors we were producing on the island of St. Croix per year? What was the average amount of hogsheads of sugar that this island of St. Croix produced? That he said the cultivation exceeded that of any of the British islands but Jamaica. So imagine.
Let me start it out with a guess.
All right.
And I guess is about 1,500 hogsheads per year.
About 1,500, 1,500 hogshead a year.
Yeah.
That's what you say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would say in return, weed and come again. Beloved, how many hogshead was St. Croix averaging yearly by the time when the British took over St. Croix in 1801? You tell me. You might want to know what is a hogshead. Well, beloved, it is definitely a measurement, but what does it represent? How much is a hogshead? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. I am trying to find out how many hogshead did we average a year according to Rear Admiral Duckworth when
This I guess to because the business for a short time, but according to that, when they took over, I think that was the year, couple of years later, we got a record of producing sugar, so it had to be a lot.
well, I remember now,
Yeah,
is that it's two different times
yeah,
that the British took over.
right, yeah.
And the second time, we had a question about it because we were producing so much sugar that we was helping British with the fight against the new United States of America in the War of 1812.
Yeah,
1812.
Right.
Well, we are here now at 1801. And we are asking because, hey, the Rear Admiral, he has reported to his superiors. He said, my son, this island of St. Croix is something else. You know, and they just produce blank number of hogshead of sugar
For years.
per year.
Yeah. So, I gave it 8,000 and said a year.
You're going with 8,000 hogshead a year.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that is closer than the 1,500, but it is still weed and come again. Yes. Because, beloved, again, even though our good-for-nothing misleaders who run this government don't want us to know, but, beloved, this 84 square mile island of St. Croix has a rich history. And one of the things here is showing you. Let me check what you know. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm guessing the answer is 1,872 head.
1,872 hogs head. You sound like you know what you're doing. You're doing some research.
Yes.
Yes. She laughing. Well, we that come again, do some more researching. Yes. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, is it 10,000 houses?
Is it 10,000? Well, again, let us just say that, hey, you know, you are the closest yet. How is that?
Okay.
Wheel and come again. Beloved, most of us have never heard of that measurement, a hog's head. But a hog's head was actually a measurement. And as you said, you know, the Rear Admiral Duckworth, as he's reporting to his superiors about the island of St. Croix, he is saying that St. Croix averages blank number of house heads a year. Unbelievable for an island that size. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, Mario.
Yes, sir. What you gonna tell me now?
You just said 10,000 close?
I didn't say close. I said that it was closer than the others. You
Closer
did?
than the others. Yeah.
And I was, I think that that was the closest of all that I've heard. That is what I meant.
You heard 1,500.
Yeah,
You heard 800.
yeah.
I was told 800 that you were close.
No. This last one here said 10,000. You know.
Yeah.
I said that the 800 was closer than the 1,500.
You got me a little confused. You said 10,000. Anyway, you got me a little confused.
All right. Well, all right. My bad. Let me just put it this way to you plainly, okay? That of all the numbers that I've gotten so far, the 10,000 is the closest to the correct answer. That makes sense to you?
Okay, no, you got me. Yeah.
If
10,000.
that make more sense, all right.
Yeah, because I know 10,000 more than 15, and it's way more than 18. I'm like it. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, 10,000. I said, well, let me see, about 15,000.
You would say about 15,000. And
Yeah.
I would say, wheel and come again.
Huh?
And I ain't giving no more hint yet. Good afternoon.
So I get it with 16,000 barrels a year.
You're going with 16,000 barrels a year. But we talking about barrels or no?
I check, Darren, I check.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Wheel and come again. Still got the wheel and come again. Good afternoon. We are looking to see how many hogs head we average per year when the British took over in 1801.
Yeah, good afternoon. I would say 19,000.
You would say 19,000. And I would say wheel and come again.
All right, okay.
Beloved, you know, son, Here we go. Good afternoon. How many house head a year?
30,000, I said.
You said 30,000. And I said, wheel and come again. You got to do some more researches. Do your researching. Welcome. Good afternoon. How many households were we averaging a year?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you. Welcome.
150,000 a year.
150,000. That's what you said, 150,000 a year?
Yes, sir.
And I said to you, wheel and come again. 150,000. That's a big jump he made there. How many households did we average a year in 1801 when Rear Admiral Duckworth made his report to his superiors about the island of St. Croix and how the cultivation on this island exceeds that on any British island other than Jamaica? Good afternoon.
Yeah, Mario.
Yes.
46,000.
46,000. You guessing or you're researching?
I guess it.
You guessing.
But Mario, before you tell me wheel and come again, right?
Yeah, listen.
You tell Mr. What's his name? The guy from FedEx.
You know.
Yeah, man, he just been on before me. But anyhow, you tell him, he said that barrel, but I had said it's a barrel. It's a wooden barrel, right?
What they call it? Yes.
I answered that question already and guys, right?
All right. Well, all right. So this will be helpful to everybody. All right. Yes, it is a barrel, but a very big barrel.
Yeah.
So that you should know how many barrels add up to a hogshead. So that you make a distinction between a barrel and a hogshead. Because you're following me? In other words, why you don't just say it's a big barrel?
Because how I know it at the time, I had said, but me know that I had not different barrels.
Yes, well now you need to know. You know, a barrel amounts to a certain number of gallons.
Yeah.
So many gallons equal a barrel, right?
Right now, we know what modern times a barrel, they got 55-gallon barrel and they got 46-gallon barrel. That's on the world market.
Uh-huh.
A barrel of oil is 46 gallons.
Yes.
Right now, in our water, but back then I didn't know. Check, but that's why I know right now.
But now we're making sense, and that is why there was a difference between a barrel and a hogshead. Because a barrel is so many gallons, a hogshead is so many gallons. In ours, it takes a certain amount of barrels to come to a hogshead. When you have so many barrels, you don't say this is a very big barrel. You say this is a hogshead.
Okay. Just one verification, that's all.
Good thing. We're on the same page.
I ran, right?
Yes, you have the wheel and go again. Yes. Good afternoon.
Hey, beloved, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, man. Good afternoon.
The Lynn research I did say successful estates produce between 200 and 300 barrels hothead per year. And each hothead adding 1,700 gallons. So I might got to do some more, but I can with 200 to 300 hogshead per year.
You said 300 hogshead per year. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I saying to you, wheel and come again. Yes, indeed. But we got to remember, well, let me take this next call first. Good afternoon, welcome. What's your number? Hello?
Yes, go there again, Mario. I would say 10,000.
You would say 10,000. You ain't paying good attention because somebody gave that number already, 10,000, and I said, wheel and come again.
Okay, I missed that. Sorry.
All right, not a problem. I'm trying to help you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay,
Good thing. Yes, beloved. The hogshead is a very large barrel. A very large barrel. And it is, well, as a caller point out, depending on the time period, you will know, well, how many barrels it takes to add up to a hogshead. But the thing that you need to know is that we are talking about the year 1801. And in that time here, you could do your research to find out, well, how many barrels add up to make a hogshead. But that in itself is not the answer, because you still got to turn around and tell me, well, okay, so it takes so many barrels to make a hogshead, but that don't tell me how many hogshead of sugar did St. Croix produce in the year 1801. So, talk to me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Is it 11,000?
11,000. Wheel and come again. Yes. What is the number?
36,000, Mario.
36,000. 36,000. I say, wheel and come again. And now, because we got about 3 minutes to go before the 4 o'clock hour, so let me give you some help. The last, if you remember the last number, it was too high. Now, if you forget the last number, that's your problem. I ain't gonna tell you again. But the last number was too high. Good afternoon. How many hogshead per year?
Good afternoon. 46,000 hogshead per year.
46.
1,000.
46. Wheel and come again. That's too much.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, go there. 21,500.
21,500. Not enough. Wheel and come again.
Okay.
I am trying my best to help you. The last caller was too low. The one before him was too high. So you tell me. What are we looking at? Good afternoon. What's the number? What's the number?
Yeah, Mario, 30,000.
All right. He says 30,000, and I says that is too high. And we are just about at the 4 o'clock hour. So hey, you know, you tell me what is the number we're looking for? What is the number I'm looking for?
I gave it 26,000, Mr.
Well, all I could tell you is that you burn off. You burn off the son. And the next one, all you got to do is come down a little bit, and you wheel and come again. What is the number?
Me, Mario,
Yes, you.
25,000.
That is it. That's the number right there. 25,000. So let me complete the answer for you. Rear Admiral J.T. Duckworth in 1801 said, cultivation in the island of St. Croix exceeds that of any of our islands but Jamaica, and its produce for its size is immense, averaging 25,000 hogshead of sugar a year.
Right? Yeah, Mario.
Well,
that was a good guess.
well, that was a good guess. But again, who you will give it to?
Horace Creighton, my partner, Horace Creighton.
All right. Great thing.
Yeah.
Well, you back in the winning ways, man. You're back in your winning ways.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. 25,000 hogshead of sugar a year is what St. Croix was producing. And according to the Rear Admiral J.T. Duckworth, only Jamaica of all the British Islands, because he was a Britisher, only Jamaica produced more than St. Croix. Are you hearing that? And yet our good for not misleaders don't want our children in school to realize, just how productive this island was. If it could be so productive for slave owners, because in 1801, we were the Danish West Indies, and we were still exactly 47 years away from emancipation in 1848. This is 1801. And this is how much we were producing. And today, what do we produce? Smiles for visitors. That's it.
Well, Mario, if you know, right, how many gallons is equivalent to them again back in the day?
Well, back in that day, it was actually 65 gallons.
65 gallons.
65 gallons.
Okay.
All right, but it could go as high as anywhere between 65 and 75 gallons of sugar would constitute a hogshead. Whereas in those days, 30 gallons was a barrel.
Okay.
In those days.
All right, Mario. Okay.
I know you got the lucky now already, man. I don't know that.
Information, man,
Good thing. We're going to make you commissioner of education here.
If they make you out, they're going to make me.
That's a good question, but we're going to keep trying.
Yeah, Mario, I can understand.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, man.
All right. And yes, beloved, it's time for us to take our final break for the day of today, Tuesday, when we learn about the hogshead and that we were actually averaging 25,000 hogshead of sugar a year. How about that? Beloved, lick your cream. Because that sugar ice cream is just so good for your soul. Beloved, and this is what we call the last lap. You know, so welcome aboard. If you got a last lick, bring it. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello and welcome.
Okay, Mario, I'm going to leave the phone. I got it now.
Okay.
Listen, I seem as if my brethren won. I know you've been trying for some time to win again.
Well, he did
What
20.
name are you calling Keneki? Or is it right about Keneki?
Keneke.
Keneki.
Keneke.
Yeah. So you win. What was the mystery question?
How many hogshead of sugar did St. Croix average in 1801 when the British
Okay.
took over the Danish West Indies?
Okay. Okay.
And the answer was 25,000 hogsheads.
Wow. That's a lot of hard head.
Well, according to the Rear Admiral who was in charge of the invasion that took over St. Croix for the British, you know, this says that's what I was reading. Other than Jamaica, we were the most productive island of all the British West Indies.
Ain't that something? What you call it, the bread basket of the Caribbean, something like that? Hello?
Hello? What the car? How many people? How many people talking to me? Yeah?
No. I with you now. I asked you if it used to be called the bread basket of the Caribbean or something like that.
No. The what was it now? Not the bread basket.
Like something along the line.
Yes, something along the line. Yes. Garden of the West Indies. The Garden of the West Indies. That's what it was.
The Garden of the
The
West
Garden of the
Okay.
West Indies.
But and that is good. But why? I'm sure you would answer appropriately. Why was it continue? Why aren't we still that? Or why isn't St. Croix still that?
Well, this is why I'm always pushing for inside-out cultivation. You see,
Okay.
most of the islands, that have productive soil like we do, they're mountainous. St. Croix, the topography of St. Croix is, unique because all of these rainforest islands, they're mountainous. Very productive soil, but they are mountainous, and so it does not easily lend to cultivating.
Okay. But then it would stand to reason that the misleaders who were getting the pocket greeders who turned it into an industrial thing with these plants and head soil and all these kind of things.
Well, because they wanted, you got to remember this here. Pywanski administration is what gave St. Thomas the political hegemony
True.
over the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
That happened in 61. Pywanski became governor. Kennedy appointed him as governor. In 1962, Doug James and Patrick Williams joined the Unity Party. They were elected, and for the first time in its history, St. Thomas became the political hegemon of these islands.
True.
Now then, the Pywanskis were into liquor.
Oh yeah.
This is why Puerto Rico actually joined the United States Customs Zone. The Pywanskis said, no, we want to remain outside because we want to make our millions off of duty-free liquor and tobacco.
Exactly.
Which is what they did.
Yeah, and the thing, as you mentioned, John F. Kennedy had appointed Pywanski as governor.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because of the relationship with his father and Pywanski's father,
Yes.
who were liquor barons.
They exchanged. You got cruise and rum for Irish whiskey. that they sent down from New England.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, it's a really rich and long history of what has taken place towards the downing of the Virgin Islands.
Well, this is that's the thing is that we, have been the labor power that caused all of these things to come to fruition.
Exactly.
Since 1970, when we got the authority to elect our government, we have now elected 9 governors. Not a one of them realized that we could actually put these islands to our own benefit for once. But no, instead, we decided tourism would be the best way to go because this is what the British government did with all the British West Indies. It says, hey, we are going to make tourism. You can no longer produce for us. We want you to be a market. We want to sell to you.
Uh-huh.
Well, this
Mario, you sit back and wonder what was so wrong with diversification. Why they couldn't do 2 or 3 things?
well, because again, our political leaders did not think that it would appease our superiors in Washington, D.C. They wanted to curry favor. And the only thing that Washington, D.C. was interested in is keeping our islands pacified in case we are needed for military purposes.
We just became then a strategic location.
That's what it is, yes.
Yeah. Well, let me say this and go quickly because of the time running. I have mentioned before that stateside, whether I'm in West Palm Beach and or Houston, I have folks listen with me to the talk shows that's happening back home.
Okay.
And of course, in the group of listeners are some very skilled and learned electrical engineers.
Very good. I hope we can benefit.
Yeah.
I hope we can benefit from it down the road.
Yes, we will. And when the subject of WAPA on up, and some of the foolishness that they hear some people saying, they want to know what is wrong with us.
Well,
of course, why we not out there marching and through?
Well, with the help of the physicists and people like you, we hope that we could make a change. But I gotta go.
Yeah, I committed myself, so I'll give somebody else a chance to come in. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mario.
Yes, man. Welcome back, man.
So I want to ask you a question. Just to know, what monetary value does the Virgin Islands have to the United States of America? I ask you that question because we no longer send things from head point to them. Oil is not in existence anymore.
And not in the Virgin Islands, but in Equatorial Africa, Hess Oil is doing there what they did in St. Croix.
Okay.
You know what Equatorial Africa is?
Yeah.
And West Africa just below the equator.
Nigeria and Ireland.
No, it's south of Nigeria.
South of Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But what we don't send to the United States when it comes to money?
Nothing. Nothing.
And me and a gentleman had an argument on that the other day. He tell me that we so valuable to the United States.
No.
We are valuable to the States.
We and Puerto Rico are valuable from military perspective because the Panama because the Panama Canal, it allowed the United States to control any traffic that was going to go between Europe and the Panama Canal.
Yeah. So we do like tell them that we don't spend no money. Our taxes in the Virgin Islands. It's for the Virgin Islands. We don't even spend no. That's why we can't get SSI, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, we value to the United States like that. So I don't know about it. That people believing that we're so valuable to the United States. Could you remember years back? Remember Newt Gingrich? Hello, Mario?
Yes, Newt Gingrich, he was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, yes.
Now, what he said on the floor, what he said, if you could remember.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the man said, get rid of the Virgin Islands because we've like a noose around the neck.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, I heard.
We've like a noose around the neck. We ain't got no value.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know this kind of thing happen, but let somebody else get in now.
Okay, fine.
Sorry.
Yes, Virgin Islands, we are down to the last of our program for today. And again, the one thing that I always get out of this 3:30 crucial history question is that I realize that we have, quite a few of us who are interested in, the history of the Virgin Islands. And again, it speaks to, how is it that our government, could be so reluctant. I mean, actually, I don't know how to put it that it doesn't sound offensive to the politicians, but the problem is just that we don't want for our young people, our students, to come to fully understand just the potential that is in this place called the unincorporated territory of the Virgin Islands. I don't know what to tell you, Mr. But good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Don't we have like I'm assuming an Air Force plane parked up in our airport still?
Of course, yes.
And then we have Navy ships all over St. Thomas, St. Croix.
Yes.
So so there's our value to the UN.
Actually, if you want to pinpoint it, you go back to the era of Woodrow Wilson as President of the United States, and the World War I that had actually was already waging across Europe, and the fact that Germans were having quite a few, let's say, footholds in the Caribbean. And this is what caused the United States to say to the Danish crown hey, either you are going to sell us these islands or we are going to take them.
Yeah.
And it was because of the military position that was the primary reason, you know, is that
But we were finding German submarines off the coast of New York.
right.
So and so they were getting there through through the borders,
Right.
So yeah, that's why.
Don't ignore the Panama Canal, because at the time this was a major factor that was joining East and West, the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean through the Caribbean.
Right. And then there's also between us and Puerto Rico, gives us them some credibility in the Caribbean with the rest of the islands.
Yeah.
And so we are very valuable to them. The oil was from Hess was not the thing. The location is very strategic. I mean, looking Trump is talking about getting Greenland.
Yes. Yes.
They're not thinking about getting rid of things. They're thinking about adding to it.
Right. Correct.
So yeah. And when even the military base in Puerto Rico, it wasn't being used, but they used it for the invasion of Venezuela.
Yes, indeed they did.
Corey talked about hearing the jet planes flying over, going there. They were basically coming from that Roosevelt Roads,
Yes.
and also other aircraft carriers. But yeah, it's really very important to their military defense and also offense in the region.
Correct.
And
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And even though they say that, we could become independent or we could come, I don't, even if we decide to become independent, I think they're going to find some rationale, some way of changing our minds, because I just don't see, at least at this point in time, I don't see them giving us up. And that would be a significant impact to the military defense.
Correct.
And that's just one reason. There are other reasons too. So they'll find a way to entice us to stay, or at least become an associate. Something that allows them to continue doing what they're doing military-wise with us.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And for that, we should again take advantage of. We can't control certain situations. We can't control certain things because we're only so many people in the world. But we can take advantage of the situation we find ourselves in, and that I agree are not doing.
Well, I am pleased to know that with the so-called very popular physicists, we are, if not having him an elected member of the government, he has become a very favored member of the public government that I know of as my beloved audience. And so that we have, by hook or by crook, not like the United States. If we can't get him in the legislature, well, at least we're going to get him on our platform. And we are satisfied that we've done that, and we're going to work him to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take advantage of the situation you find yourself in.
Why not? Why not?
All right.
Thank you much. You have the last word. All righty. Beloved, lick your cream, because Armstrong ice cream is just so good for your soul. Just please, don't you ever forget that it don't matter how big a basket they try to give us to full up. 1-1, we could full up that basket just as long as we do it 2